Welcome to this Python tutorial for beginners. If you have always wanted to learn how to code but didn't know where to start, you are in the right place. Python is one of the most beginner-friendly programming languages out there. It's simple, powerful, and used everywhere. From building websites and apps, to analyzing data, creating artificial intelligence. In this video, we are going to take it step by step. You'll learn how to display information on the screen, create and use variables, understand different types of data, perform simple math, and even interact with your program using user input. We also look at how to make decisions in your code with conditional statements and how to repeat actions with loops. By the end of this tutorial, you not only understand them, but you will also be able to write your very first Python programs. So grab your computer and let's start coding together.
Alright, the first thing you're going to do is to create a folder on your desktop called Python tutorial. Okay, just create a folder on your desktop called Python tutorial. Now right click on that folder, okay, and then select open with code. As you can see, I have two Python IDEs here. Okay, two code editors. One is VS Code, one is 𝗲𝘂𝗵𝗶, but we are going to be using VS Code for this tutorial. So click on this. Oops. Okay, so after doing that, we are going to click on this sign over here. This is just to create another new folder. This is to create a new file. This is for a new folder, and this is just for refreshing it. Okay, so you click here, you write the name of your folder, which is your file, my program, okay, .py. Click on enter, and then this is your Python file. Okay, so that's it. Right, now let's talk about variables. So what are variables? Variables are used to store data that may vary or change. Variable can store data such as strings, numbers, and booleans. Okay, so to create a variable in Python, simply just write a variable name. Let's call out variable, an equal sign, and then the value. Hello world. Now, any number between two quotation marks is called a string. Okay, so it can be between double quotations. Let's call this variable 1 equal to. It can be between two quotation marks. Hello world. Let's go ahead and print out our variable. Print. Let's write variable. You come to this play button and you run. Here is our program. Let's go ahead and comment out this one over here. So use this hashtag symbol to comment out a code you don't want to run in your program. Okay, you use it to just write comments. Okay, you can write whatever you want to write, but it won't run in the program. So you can write maybe like a description or whatever. Let's say this one. This is a variable, and this over here will not affect your code. Let's go ahead and run it. You can see hello world. So whatever variable you use, variable one or variable one or just variable, it will still print hello world. As you can see, it will still print hello world. So variable are case sensitive. Okay, so if you change this to let's say hello world and exclamation, you run it. can see it still prints the one without exclamation because we are printing variable one. So they are very case sensitive. Okay. So if you change this back to variable, print the one without exclamation. And if you change this to a capital letter, there will be an error. Okay. So variables are very case sensitive. You should be aware of that. So now, the type of value a variable has determines the data type of that variable. For example, if you can guess, this variable, the data type is string because it stores a string. This also stores a string. Okay, I think of strings as any message you want to display in our own program. Okay, so we have other types of variable. Let's say we have the numeric uh data type which stores number. Let's say number one equals to, let's say, 7, and then number 2 equals to what? 7.5. You save it. Now let's print number one. Now number one will print out 7, as you can see here. And you can print number 2, which will print out what? 7.5. You want to know what type of variable is being stored, what type of data is being stored in a variable, you just use the keyword type. So use the keyword type. All right. And then you pass in the variable, or you pass in whatever object you want. Okay. So this is a string data over here, and this is a variable containing the string. You can pass in any kind of data in here, or you can just pass in a variable containing data. So let's run it. Now, if you want this to display, you have to use the print command. So this shows the type of data, but if you run it, nothing will happen unless you use the print command to display our value onto the screen. So let's go ahead and wrap this with the print command. Let's close it over here. Our code will run. It shows class string, which means that this is a string variable, the string data. So you can just put variable one is also a string data, and number one, let's use number one. Number one, as you can see, it's an integer. An integer is any whole number that does not have any decimal point. So let's use number two, which is this. This is number two. Let's see what kind of data is stored in it. Float. Okay, so float is stored in it. Okay, so it prints out this first, then it prints out this second, which is this, and then it prints out this third, which is this. This is why you are seeing it in order like this. Okay, we can go ahead and comment this order too, so as to just focus on what we are doing here. Let's run it, and as you can see, this is a float data. So a variable can store different data. The type of data a variable stores depends on the data type of that variable. It depends on the data type of the data stored in the variable. So the main types of variables we have are the string, which is this. This is a string. And then we have numeric, and numeric is made of integers and floats. So any whole number is an integer. It can be 10, 12, 100, 120, And then any number with a decimal point, it's whatever, is called float. Float. And then we have boolean. Boolean. Let's call it variable bool, which stores only true or false. A boolean variable stores only true or false. This is boolean. And let's check the data type of this one, of bool. As you can see, it changes to bool, which means boolean. Okay, it means boolean. You can change this to whatever you want. Boolean. So if you run this, it will return an error. Okay, so it returns class type. So this means that bool is a type of the data. Okay, instead of returning the integer. So I mean, instead of returning the variable over here. Let's change this from bool to boolean. Run it as boolean. So now we have showed you how to display user input on the screen. You can display any user input by using the print command. Print, let's say 6, 7, 8, whatever, 6.2, 6.5. You can use the user input to display whatever. Sorry, I mean the print command. You can use the print command to display whatever you want on the screen. Okay, so every software has an output, also has an input. So this is a way of displaying output in Python. Use the print command. And use print 4.8, which is a float number. Okay, and you can also store your data in a variable. So this is hello world. Instead of putting hello world directly into the print keyword, you just write the variable name. And then you run it, and so it will print hello world for us. So whenever you want to change what is being printed out here, instead of coming here directly, you come to the variable over here. This is my program. As you can see, it has printed this is my program. Okay, so you just use this print command to print whatever you want. Now, if you put a number in here, it's still a string. Okay, it is still a string. It's not an integer. Whatever kind of number you put is still a string. If you remove the double quotation, that's when it makes it an integer or a float. So if I'm going to print the type, check what type of data this variable contains to return what? A string. So whatever is put between two quotation marks is a string. Okay. So now let's talk about user input. I've discovered how to put output data in our own software. Now let's talk about the user inputs. So let's talk about the user inputs. To input any data into our software, you use the keyword input. Input. Okay. So whatever you put here, let's say enter your name. This is going to be displayed to the user of the software. However, this is not the data that is going to be entered into the software. I'll explain further. So when you use the input command, input, let's say, what is your name. You run it. It's going to prompt you to impute a string. Whenever you use the impute command, it prompts you to impute a string. Okay, so even if you put a number, this number is going to be stored as a string. It's going to be stored as a string like this. Because if it's stored as a string, you cannot add it, subtract, or perform any kind of mathematical operation on it. Okay, so let's say, what is your name? I put my name. Okay, I'm coming. Over here, let's put this input in a variable. Let's call it variable equals. So by assigning another value to this variable, this is the variable, it already exists, and this is the data in it. Now we assign another data. So this is going to override this. So when we run it, I'm going to ask you what's your name. Sorry. Let's see what's your name. Enter. And it brings out the type. Let's remove this. We don't want to know the type. We want to know the actual data instead of the type. Run it again. Sorry. And then here you impute. And then it displays agape in our own software. As you can see, this is your name. This is a variable which asks you to impute your name. Once you impute your name, you use this print command to print out your name. Let's say you write whatever you want to write. Let's say sorry, this time now. So I write a very, very long name. What is here? Let's see. Okay, so it has already printed. Let's expand this a bit more and close this tab over here. And this is it. Oof. And this is it. So you can run it again. Insert this. And it prints this out. As you can see, so whatever you want to input, if you want to impute data or you want to request for data from the user, you use the impute command. So let's create another variable. Okay. Just copy this. And use the impute command over here. And we say impute enter what is your age? What is your age? And then we are going to print it out. Use the print command to print out whatever we want into the screen. Variable 1. Then you run the software. What is your name? So let's say uh, whatever you want to impute. Let's say Yusuf. What is your age? Let's say 23. We outputs Yusuf and 23. However, this is a string, not an integer, because you can add two integers together. Okay, let me explain. Here, you can say print number 1 plus number 2. Sorry, let me comment this part first. It's asking us for input. Variables are not defined yet. So let's run it. And as you can see, these are output 127.58766. Two numbers, whether integer and float together, float and integer, you can perform different mathematical operations on this. So I showed you how to impute data into your own program. Now let's talk about mathematical operations on Python. So let's quickly do Control A and clear this out. Math operations in Python. So Python supports the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modulo operators. Okay, so you can add, you can subtract, you can multiply, you can divide, and you can even find the remainder of addition. So Python also allows the addition of two strings, but does not allow the addition of a string and a number or any other data type. So if you have a number, let's say 7, let's print it out onto the screen. Print 7 plus 8. It's going to display 15. Also subtract 7 minus 8 is minus 1. Also divide 7 divided by 8, which is this. So you can also multiply 7 multiplied by 8, which will return 56. And we also have this modular operator, which is used to find the remainder of two numbers. Okay, so let's say you have number 1, which is equal to 6, and then number 2, which is equals to what? 2. I'm going to divide number 1 by number 2. So print number 1 divided by number 2. So this is going to give you 3.0. This is going to give you 3.0. However, if you use 7, it is going to return with a 0.5 additional. Now, however, if you wish, you can get the remainder of the division. So whenever you are dividing two numbers, you are going to look at the remainder of the division, which is 1. So what this means is that 7 can divide itself by 2, but it will have remainder 1. So this is why it returns 1. Now if you put 6 over here, it's going to have no remainder. So whenever you use this percent sign, which is called the modulo operator, it returns the remainder of a division. Okay, so let's give a simple example. Let's say you are given 7 oranges to share equally. One, and return the remainder. So we are given 7 oranges to divide equally. Okay. So what's the total number of orange? Let's say the total number of orange number underscore of orange. Mind you, whenever you are writing a variable name, you're not expected to separate them. Okay, it's wrong to separate them. You can write them without any of these underscores over here. Just put it like this if you wish, or you use the underscore. Now these 7 oranges, and then you are going to divide it, share equally amongst 2 people. So these are the 2 people, right? Number of people. Now the number of people are 2. So how are we going to share this now? If we are going to share it, we are going to find how much will remain if we share these numbers. If it's just 6 numbers, we are going to find how much we will share between, how much will remain if we are going to share it equally. So what we will do is we will create another variable called reminder. Okay, and then we put this. Let's delete this. Let's call this number of oranges modulo, and then number of what? Number of people. So this is going to find the remainder, and then we are going to subtract the remainder from the number of oranges. Okay, we're going to subtract the remainder from the number of oranges. So our value will be equals to what? Number of oranges minus the remainder. Now we are going to print out the value divided by the number of people. But this is going to ensure that we have divided the number in equal halves. Okay, we have divided oranges equally. Okay, so let's run our program and see. As you can see, 3.0, it has not returned any reminder. This is because this reminder is a reminder after dividing it. So 7 can be shared into 2 parts with 1 reminder. So we don't want it to be returning 3.5. Okay, let's say you are going to give each person 1 full orange and not half an orange. So we don't want to return 3.5. So instead, we want to return only 3.0. So we want to give everybody 1 full orange. So what you do is that since it is 7 oranges, you want to remove that extra orange and let it become 6. So you create a variable called reminder. So this reminder takes the number of orange, which is 7, and then it gets the modulo of it. That's, it divides by the number of people and then it gets the remainder. Remember, this operation is used to get a reminder of a division. It's not used to divide, it's used to get the remainder of a division. So if you print the reminder, print reminder, the remainder is what? 1. This is 3, and then the other one is 1. So it returns what? 1. Okay. So the remainder is 1. So now it subtracts. So now this is the remainder which equals to 1. So this operation now is the same thing as 1 because the remainder of this is what is 1. So now the value is now equals to the number of oranges minus the remainder, which is 1, which is minus 1. So 7 minus 1 is what? 6. So now the value here is what we are dividing by the number of people. Which is 6 divided by 2, which will return what? 3. Okay. So now let's say this is a software you are asked to build. Let's say this is a software you are asked to build. So that means the users can input whatever number of oranges they want here. So let's use the input command. Let's say number of oranges. And this what? Input number of people. And then you run it. So it's going to ask you to insert the number of oranges. So we have, let's say, 6 oranges. And then how many people? Let's say 2 people. Sorry, I made a mistake. I said this is prompting people to input a string. So whenever you put this 6 is going to be returned as a string. And you cannot add or subtract a string. So remember I said you can add, subtract, divide, the modular operation and whatever on numbers, but not on strings. You can only add 2 strings together. Okay, I'm going to explain how you can add 2 strings together, but for now let me explain this problem now. So for us to solve this problem, we are going to convert this into what? Into an integer. So if you want to convert any data type or any variable into a string or integer, you are going to use what? This str, convert any data into a string. You are going to use int, convert any data into an integer. Then you are going to use what? Float. So basically, if you want to use any kind of data type, let's say, give me one moment, please. Let's hide this first. Let's hide this first. So let's say, let's also hide this input. I want it to prompt us for an input for now. So assuming you have a number, okay, let's also hide all of this and this. You have 2 numbers, okay. You can perform any operation on these 2 numbers. So now let's say you have this which is equals to 4. You can return this the data type which is type, okay, B. And then once you run it, it returns the data type which is class integer. And this integer, you can take it, okay, and you can use it to convert other data types, other data into an integer. Okay. So if you have a string, let's say this is a number, you have another number, let's say B equals to 4, and perform an operation on it, which is what? B plus B, and it will work, which is equals to 8. However, if one of it is a string, it will not work. It will return an error. But you can convert this into an integer. And an integer is a number. You can convert it into an integer or a float. And then you run it. So now we can add the two together. Okay, because you combine. But if you change this into something like, let's say, h is not a number, it will still return an error. So you need to return any number. So here you say invalid literal for integer with base 10. Any number that is in the base 10. So you can return, and if you put 4.5, it will still return 8. Sorry, this is a float instead of an integer. So it needs to be an integer. However, if you want it to be a float, you change this here to what? Float. You convert it into a float number. Okay, so this is simply it. So now you can actually put a float data in here and put and make this integer. So let's just run it and see what happens. It returns 8 because an integer is a whole number. Okay, let's just print this integer out. So whenever you are converting a float number into an integer, the decimal point is being removed. Okay, so whatever is here is located after the decimal point is being removed, and only the first number is being returned. As you can see, if you print it out, it's only 4. If you print out B. Okay, so if you want decimal places, let's say like you are dealing with currencies or whatever, you can use the float number. So now, with what we know here, how are we going to solve this program? This means that we are going to convert all of this into the appropriate data types. The appropriate data types we actually need. And what is the appropriate data type we need here? Instead of the input data type, we are going to be using the integer data type. So let's convert all of this into the appropriate data types. So for this program to work, I'm going to convert this to the appropriate data type. So this value, let's see. So we are going to be needing a whole number here. Number of oranges has to be a whole number. You cannot have 7.5 oranges. Number of people also has to be a whole number. So for these two data types, we need to convert this input, which is by default. It converts anything that is being inserted by the user into a string. Okay, anything that the user inserts is being converted into a string. So you cannot add string to numbers, divide string to numbers, or apply any kind of mathematical operation on strings. So what we will do is we will wrap it, sorry, we will wrap it in an integer. Sorry, one moment. So whatever is in here will be converted into an integer. So let's do it for this one too. Now let's run our program. So number of oranges is what? Let's say 6. Sorry about that. Let's say 6. Number of people is 3. So you have 2. And the remainder is what? The remainder is 0. And then you have what? 2 oranges per person. Okay. So this 2.0, we don't like this 0.0. How about we convert the value here into an integer too? So it removes the decimal point. I want it to be a whole number. So let's say 6. Sorry, not here. Come to the terminal here. 6, 2, 3. Now, what if you, instead of putting 6, which is number divisible by 2, what if you input 7? So if it imputes 7 and then you divide it by 2, it will divide 3 oranges to 2 people and it will hold 1. 3 oranges to 2 people and hold 1. You see that? So this is the remainder 1 and this is the oranges divided to 2 people. So now what if you inserted 6 divided by, you can put any number you want, 400 divided by 37, divide 10 oranges to each person, remainder 30. Wow. So it will divide 10 oranges. So let's try dividing it over here. Let's say print what? 400 divided by 37. 400 divided by 37. Oops, we have to input all of these numbers over here again. Control X. Let's print it here so that it displays first. Let's kill this terminal line here. Okay, so it's still going to prompt us to impute number of oranges because this input command has appeared here first. So let's go ahead and put the number of oranges. Let's say 45. Number of people, let's say 34. So you see, this over here is what? Is 400 divided by 37, which is 10.810 and whatever number you're seeing here. So now 45 divided by 34, print this, which is our value in integer, which is 1. So 45 divide, sharing 34 oranges to 45 people. Sorry, sharing 45 oranges to 34 people. You can only share 1 each and 11 remains. You share 1 each and 11 remains. Okay, so if you go ahead and decide to share the 11 again, that means some other people will be having 2 while some other people will be lacking oranges. So 400 divided by 37 is 10 point whatever you see here. So let's make our program look a little bit better. It's just showing numbers over here. Let's do what is called string concatenation. So like I said before, let me comment this out. If you want to comment multiple lines of code, you don't have to use the hashtag. You can just use triple quotation marks to comment multiple lines of code, and then you have to close it. So this has been commented out. This has been commented out. Also, if you want to print a string, a multi-line string, you can also use this actually. So this has been commented out. Now let's add 2 strings together. Let's call this string 1, which is equals to what? Hello, right? And then string 2, which is what? World. Now print string 1 plus string 2. Let's run it together. And as you can see, it is hello world. So what happens when you add 2 strings together? It will conjoin the 2 strings without any space. Okay, so let's say you want to add another string. So string 3, let's say, is equal to, and instead of adding something, we will just put a space in here. This space in here is also a string, so let's put plus string 3 plus string 2. So this string 3 is what? Is a space. But let's just rename them. Let's rename this to string 2. Let's just rename this to string 2. Then let's rename this to string 3. Let's rearrange them. So what happens is that it's going to print this, it's going to add it to string 2, which is this, and then it's going to add it to string 3, which is this. So once you run it, it will print hello, which is string 1, space in between is string 2, and then world, which is string 3. Now you can choose to just insert the strings manually without actually assigning it to a variable over here. So as you can see, it has printed out hello world. So you can add two strings together. You can say hello plus world. Sorry, this should be a string. Then you run it. This hello, not hello, sorry, hello instead of hello. So let's add our space here. Space it, come over here, plus another string, and you have your hello world. So what I just did here is called string concatenation. Adding two strings together is called string concatenation. Okay, so let's just change this. So this is called string concatenation. Alright, you can also multiply a string by a number, but you cannot multiply a string by another string. So if you multiply a string by another string, it's going to be an error. But if you multiply a string by a number, it's going to display that string the number of times. It's going to display this. For example, if you multiply hello by 3, it's going to display hello 3 times. So you have hello, 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 hello. So if you add a space here and then you run it to print out hello, hello, hello with a space in front of each. So you can multiply a string by a number, but you cannot divide a string. You cannot divide it. So let's say instead of doing this, let's use our impute command to impute data into our program. Let's say, what is your name? Impute what is your age? Let's clear this out, and then on top we are going to print this is my app, something like this. This is going to be what is going to be displayed. You come over here and then you print out this. You can now say hello. Let's create this hello okay plus hello. Let's say hello comma I am, and then over here you now add string 1, and then you do plus. Okay, you now add string 2, plus, let's say, years old. So over here you put a space here, then you come over here, you put a space. Okay, so instead of putting a space here, let's just come to this. Yeah, let's leave it like that. So let's run it. So it's going to ask you, as you can see, this, it has printed out, this is my app. So what is your name? You will now say Abba. What is your age? Abba is 14. Hello, I am Abba, 14 years old. Hello, I am string 1 means Abba. And then over here we are going to say add another string which says I am, and then it's going to print out Abba. So string 1 is what? Is I am whatever name you want, 14, 15. String 2, whatever your name you want, it can be Abba, Yusuf, Regina, or whatever. And then this would be 15, 16, 56. And then you run it. My app is going to be, let's say, Hawa. Sorry, come over here. Hawa. Your age is 23. Hello, I am Hawa. I am. There's no space over here. So let's fix it. Let's come over here. You can add space here. And then you run it again. And then you come over here. What is your name? Let's say Abbas. Your age, let's say 16. Hello, I am Abbas. I am 16 years old. There's no space here. There's no space here. You can fix it by adding space here and adding space here. So you can run it. What's here? Hello, what is your name? You can put Brown. Your age, let's say you are 18. Hello, I am Brown. I am 18 years old. What if your name is Michaela? You can put it. So this is a simple program that asks for a user input, which is this, and then it displays hello, I am, whatever name the person inserts here. So it can be Abbas, it can be Michaela, it can be Aurelian, it can be Yusuf, or whatever your name. It can be some kind of whatever name you want to put here. So here, what age do you have? It's going to insert it, and then it's going to add this to this. So what we have here is called string concatenation. Okay, so this is how you spell it, concatenation. Let me quickly put it here, if I'm not mistaken. Concatenation, right? I'm not mistaken. This is how it's spelled. So this is called string concatenation, right? I think this is the spelling. Concatenation. So basically adding different strings together is called string concatenation. This is a variable containing a string. This is a variable containing a string. You are adding it to other strings. So this is a string, is a variable that contains a string. This request for a string from the user, and the request is what is your name. So you can do something like this, give it a space, do something like this, give it a space to make our program more prettier. So when it asks you what is your name, it will show this, and it will also have a space before what is your name. So you can say your name is GC, and then how old are you? You are like 24 years old. Hello, I am GC. I am 24 years old. It's as simple as that. You can even add a comma over here, right after GC. You can run it again. What is your name? Miranda. Sorry, not here. You can write it with capital letters, Miranda. What is your age? Let's say Miranda is 26 years old. Hello, I am this string over here, comma, I am Miranda, comma, alright, I am 26 years old. So you kind of like want to play around with this string concatenation and understand how it feels. So this is one example of string concatenation. Another example of string concatenation, like for example, we are stressing ourselves with these commas over here. Too many commas, too many space over here. We are kind of like stressing ourselves to space out the letters. So whenever you want to like space out uh, any group of strings that you have concatenated together, you can just put a comma. Okay, instead of suffering, you can just say print. You can put hello, close the string, and then comma, and then you say world. This is also another form of string concatenation. So it will conjoin these strings. However, this comma in between will provide a space between the strings. So you have hello world with a space instead of a comma. So you can use it here. So let's go ahead and delete this. Let's comment our variables here. Let's come over here. Now instead of this addition and all of this space and whatever, you can just leave it like this without any space. Come over here without any space. Control Z, Control Z. Come over here without any space. So what happens here, instead of using addition, we are going to use this comma instead of addition, because it's also another form of string concatenation. You're going to put comma over here, going to add another comma over here, we're going to add another comma over here, then we're going to add another comma over here. So it's going to conjoin all of these strings, and it's going to put the space appropriately in between every single string. Okay, so when you run it, you're going to have, what is your name? My name is Caesar, Caesar, whatever you want to call it. How old are you? I'm like 40. You see, hello, I am Caesar, I am 40 years old. So this comma will conjoin the strings, but it will add a space in between every single string. So instead of like trying to add a space by yourself, it will just do it for you. Okay, so you can concatenate two letters. Now however, if you want a string to be printed but appear down, you can do it like this. uh I'm the sorry I am the Hulk, I'm like, I don't know how old is the hawk. I don't know. Okay, I made a mistake. I think this should be it, right? I am the oh, I keep forgetting. I am the hawk. I'm like 40 years old or whatever. So what's your name? I'm the hawk. I'm 40. Sorry, this should be here. So what this \n means that it's going to print this years old in the next line. Okay, so let's just say I am Iron Man, and I'm like, I don't know how old that guy is, like 60 or whatever. So it's going to be hello, I am Iron Man, I am 60, and then years old is going to come down here. It's going to print it in a new line. So if you want to like tap this thing to the left, you want to like tap this, you can just come over here, use the backslash, then use T. This will just tap to the next line. So hello, what's your name? I'm let's say Charlton. How old are you? I'm like 34 or whatever. So it's going to tap this here. Okay, so it's going to give a space, like a tap space. Okay, so you can like use uh two of these commands together if you wish. Hello, I am Elizabeth. Oh, I keep forgetting. I'm Elizabeth. What's my age? I'm like 100 and whatever years. Like how old is the Queen of England? I don't know. Oh, I should have said Queen Elizabeth. Is a little bit disrespectful, so I'm just going to refer to another Elizabeth who is like 27 years old or whatever. So it will tap, and then it will come to the next line, which is this, and then tap. So what if you have a scenario where, let's say your girlfriend is angry at you and she asks you to like type send her a message, send her sorry like 1,000 times, or else, whatever this girl says, lady says these days. I just use Python. Okay, I just use Python. You just come over here, hash, and then you come over here, you use our own string concatenation methods. Let's say print, right? And then you do this, then you say sorry, and then you multiply it by the number of times you want it to appear. 100. It's going to say sorry 100 times. Oof, my bad. This is still prompting us to enter a user input. So gonna keep it like that. Now let's run it. Sorry, this is a string. Instead of it to print a string multiplied by 100, it's going to display this as an output. So this, here's the mistake. By trying to multiply a string by a number, you cannot multiply a string by a float number. You can only multiply it by an integer number. So let's run it, and this is sorry 100,000. However, this looks like a little bit messy. Sorry, whatever. So you want it to be printing on a new line each time, or you want it to be spaced. You just do this, sorry, spaced. However, you can print it on a new line by using this command over here, sorry, in a new line. You can see, so you can just go and copy this over here and then paste it in your chat or whatever, and do like, I don't know, whatever you want to do, you want to impress your date, you can say I love you. Then you like do it, and then it prints it out like 100 times. You know what I'm saying? So you can use some programming rules over here if you want. So this is just it. So now let's apply this knowledge of string concatenation over here. Oh, and let me explain the other types of concatenation for us. There's another type of concatenation. We are going to go back to that orange software over there. We are going to go back there, and we are going to clean up our code. Let's make it look a little bit better by adding some strings to our values, to our final answers over here. So our final answer will be like this is your final answer, whatever, and then you print out the final answer, just like we concatenated here. This is the user input. We concatenated it with another string. Okay, so let me show you another type of concatenation. This one uses curly braces. Print. Okay, so this is called an F string. So you add F before you put your quotation marks. You can put double quotation marks if you wish, or single quotation marks if you wish. So this is how it works. You are going to insert whatever you want to say. Let's say hello, comma, I am, and then wherever you want to insert an external data, you use curly braces there, and then you say yes. Let's say I am whatever, then you do comma, I am, another curly braces, years old. So this expects a parameter. What does a parameter mean? It means you need to insert something here. It needs a variable or a data to be inserted here. So you add a comma over here. So let's say, what's this? Let's insert name. Let's call this age. And then here, and then let's put our name over here. Name equals to Hulk, whatever. Oh, sorry, it should be a string. Hulk. Age should be let's say 45. This is called an F string. Then you run it. Hello, I am Hulk. I am 45 years old. Or you can just come over here, and then you add your yeah, that's how F strings actually work. Yeah, that's how F strings actually work. So F strings are actually a formatted string. I actually use the format keyword. Say hello, I am curly braces, I am curly braces, come over here, dot format, right? If I'm not mistaken, this is how it works. Dot format. Inside you pass in the parameters for these curly braces. Let's say Haaland, right? The Norwegian striker. And then let's say I am 24, or whatever age he is. So as you can see, hello, I am Haaland, I am 24. So for this kind of string, you don't need to insert any parameter here. So what you do is just put the curly braces wherever the curly braces is going to be replaced with this. Okay, so you can just say, you can just replace this with whatever. Okay, you can change the data here. Okay, so let's try something. Let's try an input over here. You can put an input comma over here and say, what is your age? Right, nah, not what is your age, what is your name rather. Come over here and say what. Nah, it has to be an input command, input, and then say, now the input returns a string, what is your age. So you run this, it's going to prompt us to write our name, and let's say I'm Vinicius Junior. Yeah, I want to be a football star today, so let's say Vinicius Junior. For those of you that watch football, your age, I think it's also like 24 years old. So hello, I'm Vinicius Junior, I'm 24. Let's add something here. Let's say I'm 24 years old. It's as simple as that. So you can use this, or and whenever you want to like impute an external data, you come here and impute it from here. Okay, or you can just use uh you can just use variables over here, and instead of putting a variable that cannot change, let's put, sorry, it can change from your code editor, but we want like a variable that can be inserted externally by the user. Okay, so let's come over here, do this, and let's call this what is your name. Keep confusing name and age, I don't know why. Input what is your age. You can use this, and then you run it. It asks you what's your name. Let's say I am Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne. What's my age? He's like 34 years old or whatever. Hello, I'm Kevin De Bruyne, I'm 34 years old. So it's as simple as that. So you can use this to create like a interactive software. Okay, so this is called an F string, because you write F before the string, and this is called a formatted string because you add a dot format, and then there's curly braces here, and whatever is in the curly braces will be replaced by this. So the formatted string, let's talk more about the formatted string. You can add as many parameters you want. Yeah, you can add as many curly braces and many variables you want. If you come over here, let's use this again. You can add full stop, you can say I like, and then add another curly braces. So the only way you can solve this, you should come here and make sure you provide 3 parameters. As you can see, this format takes in 2 parameters. The first parameter is input, comma, input. So you need to add another comma, and then you put another string. So you can say football. I like football. So what's my name? Let's say my name is Foden. Yeah, enter. My age is like, the guy's like 23 if I'm not mistaken. My name again, oh, pardon me. So this is actually running first. What's my name? What's my age? And then it runs this one again. What's my name? What's my age? And then I forgot to comment this out. Oof. Yeah. So let's kill the terminal. Let's run it again. So it's going to ask you what's, so instead of asking us for this user input, it's going to ask us for this user input from this formatted string. So let's run it. What's my name? Let's say my name is 𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗶. How old is the kid right now? Is 18. Hello, I am Yama. I am 18 years old. I like football. So if you remove the extra parameter, the number of parameters, that's the number of data you're supposed to put inside this opening and closing parentheses, is determined by the number of opening and closing curly braces that is here. So if you remove that, it's going to be an error. You do whatever here, sorry, Control Z, Control Z, you remove this. So you come, let's run it again. It's going to return an error. If you come over here, you put W, you put whatever 2, there's an error. Replacement index 2 out of range for position ax tuple. So it's supposed to be 3 parameters over here. You see here? Replacement index 2 out of range for position arguments. This ax means arguments. So it's supposed to, there's supposed to be another parameter for this. So where this is, it puts this. Where this is, it gets an user input for this. So it needs a third parameter, which is I like football. So you need to input a third parameter for it. So the number of curly braces determines the number of parameters. So you can also apply it with the other kind of string concatenation over here. For this f string, you can also add as many curly braces you want. However, the difference is for an f strings, the difference between an f string and a formatted string is that an f string, okay, is a type of formatted string that you need to pass in what variables in curly braces. That means you need to create those variables first. So if you come over here and put comma, I like football, right? Or you can say, you can just put curly braces over here. You need to create a variable that must be inserted here because this is an f string. So let's say sport over here. So that means I need to create another variable over here, which is what? Sport. Okay. And then the variable should be a string, which is football. So what's your name? Let's say my name is Salah. What's your age? Salah is like 35, right? If I'm not mistaken. So hello, I'm Salah. I'm 35 years old. I like football. So this is the difference, okay? You have another type of string concatenation which uses the percent sign. It uses a percent sign. So this is print. Oh, sorry, I'm having difficulty typing. I don't know why. So let's hide this. So let's print out another type of string concatenation, another type of way we can add strings together. So you say hello, I am, and then you put a percent sign. You put a percent sign outside, put comma, another percent sign, sorry, and then you insert variable Hulk, something like that. Outside, you name the variable Hulk equals to Haaland or whatever. I think this is how it works, right? Oops, there's a mistake over here. I think I made a mistake, but I think yeah, it's something like, so for all of these formatted strings, I think this is like the main way you can add two strings, multiple strings together. Okay, I think this is like the main way you can add multiple strings together. So now let's go back to our previous application. Okay, let's go back to our previous app. Let's clear all of these over here. Let's clear all of these over here. Okay, so I'm going to clear all of this, and or you can just leave them on. Let's just attend to our own application over here. Let's take this, cut it, bring it to the top, paste it. Let's add more dashes over here. Boom, boom, boom. I think we are done. Let's uncomment this, uncomment this here. You save it. Now let's create. Let's use our string concatenation superpowers over here. You come over here, and then you use your string concatenation. You say this is your answer, and then you put comma, then you save, and then it's going to concatenate this and this. Let's see this. Sorry, it should be a number. Number of oranges 4, number of people 2. This is your answer, which is 2. And then over here, let's say this is the reminder. Then you do this. You can concatenate a string and an integer. Remember, you can add a string to an integer. If you not add a string to an integer, sorry, concatenate using this comma. But if you use addition, it will be an error. So let's say 78. Sorry, not here. Over here, 78. Number of people to share to 45 people. So this is your answer 1. This is your remember. So let's say this is the number of orange each person will receive. Contrast. Run our program. See 40. Oh God, sorry about that. 43, 23. So this is the number of orange each person will receive. 1. Each person will receive 1 orange each. I'm gonna do is a reminder. Okay, so this is the value, and then divide by a number of people. So you divide by a group of people. So this is the reminder. There are 20 oranges remaining. So if you share these 20 oranges to the people, 3 people will be left out. So this is a simple software we just created. Very soon we are going to create a user interface for our software. Very soon we are going to learn how to use functions and if statements to make more complicated software. So for now, this is it.
Okay, now let's talk about conditionals. Quickly go and create a new file, Python file in your directory over here, and name it conditions.py. Let's quickly talk about conditionals. So when we are talking about conditional statements in Python, okay, these are just basically your code choosing between one condition and another. It's kind of like your Python code thinking. Okay, so let me give you a scenario for conditionals. Let's say you lost your friend's phone. Now you have no choice but to buy him a new phone. Okay, a phone of a similar price, right? But let's say you have only $200. Now you have two conditions. If the price is less than $200, you buy it. Okay. If you have only $200, if you have to buy a new phone, if the price is less than $200, you buy it. And likewise, if the price is still $200, you still buy it. But if it's higher than that, you can't buy it. Are you getting what like the conditional is all about? So just as you think to make decisions, likewise Python can think by using conditionals to make a condition. Just think of Python conditions as a way Python is trying to think and make conditions. Just as that. So let's say your money costs to 200, right? $100. And let's say the price of the phone, phone underscore price, let's say it's 150. Now, what's the first condition? If the price, okay, so if this is how you're going to write your conditions, if phone price is less than or equal to, okay, or equal to 200, right? Int by phone, right? Else, sorry, this is not JavaScript. Int not enough funds. Let's save it. Come over here and you run. As you can see, it has printed out by phone. So we can make this over here an input. Input. Let's say phone price. All right. We should make this an integer so that it will convert it into an integer and then you run it. So it will prompt you to enter a price, let's say 200 by phone. Let's run it again. The price is higher, 230, not enough funds. As you can see below, let me quickly make this bigger. Okay. make it a little bit bigger here. We can run the code again. Phone price $50. Buy phone. If it's 500, not enough funds. Now let's make this a little bit more interesting. This is like the normal conditions when you have like two conditions. Okay, so sometimes you might have an if instead of a else over here. So we use if in between the if statement and the closing else statement if we have more than two conditions. Okay, so now about that your friend we just talked about, let's say you want to borrow money from your mom if you don't have enough money to buy the phone. However, your mom will only give you an extra $300. That means if the amount is less than or equal to $200, you buy it without borrowing. But if it's greater than $200, you borrow from your mom and buy. Okay. Now, after buying, okay, let's say after buying, after borrowing, if it still costs more than that, you won't be able to buy it. Okay. So let's say mom calls to extra $300. Now, if the phone price is less than equal to $200, we buy. Okay. Else, if now you have additional $200, right? The phone underscore price, right, is greater than okay money plus mom. If it's greater, then it will print out not enough funds. Okay. Else, it should print out buy phone. Now let's quickly print out how much this is. Copy it. Come over here. Print. Remember our string concatenation. One funds plus money, right? Then you put this. Come over here, you make it an F string. Come over here, put an equal sign. You save it. So let's see. So now, what's the phone price? Let's make the phone price 300. One funds plus money is equals to 500. So now you have $500. That means you can be able to buy the phone. So let's quickly create a change. Let's say after buying the phone, how much is your change? We can say print or let's just use the print
F mom change left, right. Come over here, pass in our parameters, which will be what? Mom plus money minus phone underscore price. You save it. So what will happen is that it will add, oops, Control Z. It will add your money plus your mom's money. Okay, and it will display it. So which is $500. So your money plus your mom's money minus the price of the phone will give you the change left after you have bought the phone. So let's run it. Let's say the price of the phone is $400. You can still buy the phone. Change left is $100. So I'm coming. Come over here, say borrowed money and buy phone. Let's say borrow money and buy phone. You save it, you run it. What's the price of the phone? Let's say $450. Let's leave it like that, $445. You run it. Mom funds plus money is $500. Change left is $55. Borrow money and buy phone. So you can borrow money from your mom and buy the phone. Now let's run it again. Let's say it's way above $500. Let's just say it's $500. You can still borrow money and buy the phone. Now, if it's less than $200, that means less than or equal to $200. You don't need to borrow money. You just directly what? Buy the phone. Now, if it's way above $500, say $560, not enough funds. Okay, not enough funds. Simple. You can say next time, don't be careless. Do not be careless. It's as simple as that. So this is conditional statements in a nutshell. Not enough funds. Next time, do not be careless. This is conditional statements in a nutshell. It's as simple as it is. Now let's quickly go over some other examples here. Let's go over some examples. Let's say you want an age, and quickly close this up. Now let's make some other examples. Let's say you have an age verification software. Let's say you have a software, okay? And the software, you need to verify the age first. Okay? Let's say it's a drop shipping software, and you want to sell something. And that thing you want to sell, is only for adults. So let's quickly create a variable called age, which is equal to, let's make it an input. Okay, and then let's say enter your age, right? Now, if the person's age is less than, 18, you should print you are not eligible, something like that. Okay, or you can print anything. Let's leave it like that. Else, print you are eligible. So the person can either be less than 18 or not. Okay, if the person is 18 or greater, then he's eligible. Now, if the person is less than 18, that's 17 downwards, then he's not eligible. So let's run the code. Enter your age. Let's see, 17. Oops. Just like we did here, we should convert this into an integer. Sorry. Run the code. Enter your age. Let's say 17. You are not eligible. Run it again. Say 19. You are eligible. It's that simple. So you can make this look a little bit better. Save it. And 200 years. Just say 29. Sorry. Over here, 29. You are eligible. So you can make other examples. Okay. You can make example with quickly comment this out. Let's look at another problem. Okay. Let's look at numbers. Let's say you want to check whether a number is an even or odd number. So now, how do you know if a number is even or odd? So if a number is even, it's divisible by 2. If it's not divisible by 2, then it's odd. Okay? It can either be even, else it's odd. Okay? So how do you check if something is divisible by 2? So okay, let me rephrase this. Actually, I made a mistake. All numbers can be divided by anything, okay, except for 0. Okay, you can divide 3.5 by 2, 0.28 by 100, or whatever. So I made a mistake with that definition. What I meant to say was that if a number divided by 2 does not have any remainder, then that number is an even number. You can take any number, you can say 2 divided by 2 is 1, no remainder left. 4 divided by 2 is 2, no remainder. You can go on and on and on and on. Now, if you go with 7 divided by 2, that's 3.5. Now, if you are going to divide it into whole numbers without any decimal places, then it will be 7 divided by 2 is 3, remainder 1. So you can think about this for a moment and then try it yourself. It actually rings a bell. So let me give you the solution now. So when you think about it, we are going to actually use the modulo operator. Let's put the number which is equals to what? An integer. Then we're going to impute. Then we're going to say insert your number. Now we're going to start if. Now the number is divisible. If you are going to divide something, you are going to check the remainder of anything we divide. We use the modulo operator. So now if the number modulo operator 2 is equals to, so when you are using conditionals, when you are trying to compare two, two variables, whether or not they are equal, you use two equal signs, not a single equal sign. Equal to 0. That means if this divided by this has 0 remainders, then print this is an even number. Else print is an odd number. Save it and you run it. So insert your number over here. Let's say the number is 5, enter. It's an odd number. Let's run it again. Insert 6 this time around. This is an even number. It's that simple. So we can check a lot of examples over here. Let's see. What other examples should we use? What other examples should we use? Let's try and build a rock, paper, scissors app. Now, let's build a rock, paper, scissors app. It's you versus the computer. Let's say the computer chooses scissors. And when you are using a rock, paper, scissors, when you are playing rock, paper, scissors, this is the rule. When a person chooses rock and you choose scissors, then rock beats scissors. Okay, rock beats scissors, scissors beats paper, and paper beats rock. So let's go. So the computer chooses scissors. Now, if the user's choice is equals to that of the computer, then it's a draw. Now, if peradventure you choose the same thing, it's a draw. Else, if the user's choice is rock and the computer's choice is scissors, then the user wins. Okay. Or if the user's choice is paper and the computer's choice is rock, then the user still wins. Now, if again the user's choice is scissors and the computer's choice is paper, then the user also wins again. Now, this is how we are going to make this simple. It's either the user wins or he loses. So let's bring out all the scenarios that the user will win. So the user can either use scissors and the computer uses paper, or the user can use paper and the computer chooses rock, or the user can choose rock and the computer chooses scissors. That these are the only scenarios that the user will win. Or if the user chooses the same as the computer, then it's the draw. Now, if all these scenarios, in which all the possible scenarios that the user can win, if none of them suffice, then the user actually loses. So it's either this or is a lose to the user. Okay, these are the only possible outcomes that the user can win. Okay, it's just like this here. Those other examples above here are oversimplified. Okay, it's either he's less than 18 or is equal to and greater than 18. Okay, like here, it's either is less than or equal to 200, or this is greater than this. Okay, so it's pretty much not that hard. So what we are going to do is that we are going to outline the possible scenarios that the user might win. So let's say if the user let's create a variable user equals to an integer. Let's impute, pardon me, insert your choice. Let's save this. User's choice is equal to, right, computer's choice. Okay, and so this is what is happening. If the user's choice is equal to that of the computer's choice, okay, it's going to be a draw. It's a draw. Now, else if, now this is where it gets tricky. This is where we are going to outline all the possible scenarios that the user might win. Okay, the user's choice is equal to rock and the computer choice is equal to, let's say, scissors. Sorry. Print user wins. Now let's do another else if again. Let's just quickly copy this, paste it here. What's the other scenario? If this is paper and then this is rock, and then if this is scissors, and then this is, let's see, paper. So let's see, rock, paper, scissors. I think this is it. Yeah, I think that's it. And then else, print you lose, right? Put some exclamation marks over there. Add some emojis. Just click the Windows period, and yeah. Now let's run it. Let's choose paper. Sorry, it shouldn't be an integer. Oh my god, I got confused here. It's supposed to be a string. We are supposed to be comparing strings. Paper. Okay. Paper. You lose because the computer's choice is scissors. So now let's run it again. Choose something else. Let's say it's see this. It's a draw. All right. Now let's try for rock. All right, let's try rock. See what the result is. As you can see, it says user wins because rock beats scissors. So we have won. So you can use and you can also use or in your own code. Now we can make this all of this else if statement. We can make it into one elif statement. Okay. So how are we going to make this into one elif statement? You can leave it like this for readability, it's clear. But what this condition simply means is if the user, okay, if the user's choice is equal to that of the computer's choice, then it's a draw. As if the user choice is rock, this is a computer's choice, and the computer's choice is scissors, should print user wins or this or this. So this else if will run, or this else if will run, or this else if will run, else this will run. What simply means if this, okay, if this condition applies, then it should run this. Else, if this, okay, apply, if these conditions apply, it should run this or this or this. Okay, so we can just turn like all of this into one single elif.
okay, by just doing this. Cover this, check this out, check this out, check this out. As a matter of fact, just clean everything. Come over here, put an or. The next one is what? User chooses what? Paper, right? And what beats paper? And computer. Okay, what does paper beat? Chooses rock. This should also be a string. And another or that scenario. User chooses what? We did rock, paper, now scissors. Scissors. And computer chooses. So what does scissors beat? Paper. And that's just it. So do this. And then you say print user. Sorry. Let's do this in columns. Sorry, I meant quotation marks. User wins. Now you can just click the Windows button and the period button and choose an emoji you might like over here. And just choose any kind of emoji. Let's say this. Save it, you run it. Now let's choose rock. User wins. Run it again. Let's choose paper. You lose. So we have rock, we have paper. Let's choose scissors. Okay. It's a draw. Let's add another emoji for this draw. Let's make the app a little bit lively. Windows and then the period button. Then let's say it's a draw. Let's look for an emoji that represents a draw. You cannot find one. I don't know, should I choose this or it's a draw? This does the trick. Let's run it again. Let's choose scissors again. It's a draw. Beautiful. Let's choose rock. Exactly. As you can see, our code is running as expected, right? Our code runs as expected, as it should. I think we are just going to give one more example. Just one more example. This example, however, would be about an ATM machine. Let's try and develop a simple ATM machine over here. You can save this into another file. Let me create another file over here and call it what? Rock paper scissors. Let's put underscores between them, whatever. Just leave it like that dot py. Come over here, copy it. You can save it here. You can play with your friends or copy these variables over here. So you can just have fun with this program. This is just a simple game. I actually choose for the computer actually, but there's a way you can make the computer to choose randomly. That will be a topic for the future, okay? So we are going to be using the random module in the future, and we'll make the computer to choose randomly by itself. For now, you can simply just put an input statement here, just an input keyword over here. You can input anything you want for the computer, and then you impute yours. It's just that simple. So you can save your file over here. Let's just do one more code, just one more problem. Let's just solve one little more problem. Now, the problem we are going to solve now is going to be the bank ATM problem. Let's say you have an ATM, okay? Let's say you visit the bank or any ATM around, and let's say you have a balance of $5,000, or let's say, I don't know, 500,000 naira if you're Nigerian, and you want to withdraw an amount. Now, how does ATM work? If you want to withdraw all the funds, okay, if you have 5,000 naira or dollar in your account, I want to withdraw 5,000. You can withdraw the entire amount, and your account will be empty. Now, if you withdraw anything less than or equal to 5,000, it's okay, it will be withdrawn. But if, however, you withdraw above 5,000 naira, let's use dollar, $5,000, is going to return an error. It's going to say insufficient balance. But let's try and create that. Let's say print. As a matter of fact, for that, let's create a new folder for it. Let's call it ATM.py. Let's save it as a .py file. I know it's okay to leave this .py as a capital, as an uppercase, but I just don't feel it's right. Leave it like that. Come over here, print something to the screen. ATM, right? Now let's print something like welcome user. Okay, let's say welcome user. Now you come down here. Let's say we want to check balance. Let's say we want to check balance first of all. Let's write our balance plus what? 5,000. All right. Withdraw equals to integer. Okay, for this, since you are going to withdraw money, let's use float. Since we are dealing with currency, the best type to use is float. And then you pass in your input keyword, and then You can say enter the amount you you like to withdraw. Simple. Now let's start. If the withdrawal is greater than the balance, you print insufficient fund. Else, if the withdrawal is less than or equal to the balance. So now if the withdrawal is greater than the balance, that means that the other option should be that it's less than or equal to. Now if the withdrawal is less than the balance, that means the other option would be greater than or equal to. So whenever you are dealing with conditions, if you start your if block with less than, the other option of the else would be what? Greater than or equal to. Now if you start your if block with greater than, the other option would be what? Less than or equal to. Let me explain. If, okay, the withdrawal, let's say if the withdrawal is greater than balance, right? You should go ahead and print insufficient balance. Else, print withdraw success. Now we want to apply this withdrawal here. We don't just want to print this out. So what we'll do here is we are going to set a new value to our own balance. The new value will be the balance, okay, minus, okay, the withdrawal. And then it will now print our existing balance. It will now print, let's use our string formatting, and then we call this your balance is, then we put balance. I think this should come after the withdrawal successful. Yeah. So if you're wondering how I did this, you just click the alt keyword and the down arrow or the up arrow. Just shift it around. That's simple. Now you save. Now let's run our code quickly. Just run this. Okay. Now ATM app, welcome user. Enter the amount you would like to withdraw. I don't like the way this looks like this. Let's quickly go back and make some changes over here. I'd like it with a space. Right. Save it. Then you run it. Welcome user. Enter the amount you would like to withdraw. So let's say 400. Click enter. Withdraw successful. Your balance is 4,600. Let's let's format something here. Let's add a dollar sign. Save it, run it. Amount you like to withdraw. Let's say 1,000. As you can see, with the dollar sign, withdraw successful. Your bank balance, your balance is $4,000. Let's try putting 5,000 over here. Sorry, 5,000. The balance is $0. Let's try putting 5,001. Insufficient balance. As you can see, we just successfully developed our ATM software. Let's try adding some things. Let's see, what are we going to add? Should we give an option to withdraw or check balance? Right? Let's create another condition. Let's say balance. Let's say check equals to inputs would house would you like to check balance? If balance check equals yes, come over here and say y/n print balance, right? Else pass. Let's run this. You like to check balance? Yes. Why not? It's an amount you like to withdraw. So what this pass means is that if you want to check balance, it will print this. Otherwise, it won't do anything. That's what this pass actually means. So now let's see, what can we add to this software? Balance check is equal to this. You can't do much with this software if you don't know how to create functions. And for that, you should watch the next tutorial. This is just a beginner introduction to Python. Okay, we have the intermediate course where we talk about loops, the while loops, the for loops, we talk about the functions, we talk about the lists, we talk about the tuples, we talk about the dictionaries, probably talk about sets too. Yeah, we'll talk about sets for the next tutorial. And yeah, I think that's it for this tutorial. You just created an ATM app. You can play around with this software over here, like check balance. Yes, $5,000. Enter the amount you would like to withdraw. 100. Withdraw successful. Your balance is $4,600. So this is it for this beginner tutorial. Make sure to watch the next tutorial.